All right, good morning team. Coming into a new hourly candle in the next 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Morning Exister, morning Bart. Those in my room would have known I had some data issues this morning. No damage done, unfortunately, but had an issue with RTrader or maybe my computer, but everything seems to be absolutely fine again now. So what have we had? We had this drive up on the hourly. You need to be paying attention to the daily chart today, all right, right here. Daily chart's at a key level, so we've done a pullback. It's potential for a flag to set up this week if it's going to soak these levels and extend back up. If it continues to fail to break out, to get through these levels, especially on ES, if ES keeps failing, we have potential to come and back test the 20-day down lower. Right now we're hanging out around the 5-day moving average. We just swept the London high before digging back in. I have very little bias today, all right? Monday, early week, we have Jerome Powell talking later in the day. I'm expecting a lot of chop to happen today. Probably not much directional moves. There was a really great push off the morning, all right, off a flag, which I did not get. I was a little bit late to it. Right here, we were in a buy signal on the flow zones, a pullback buy, and we extended up and we soaked off before now coming back for a retracement into some of those key levels, right? So we went and tested the old point of control on the hourly. Look at this drive up, the old point of control. We went and tested it and we're having a pullback off it. So really right now I'm just interested to see where we settle down on this chart, because this is a pretty decent move off the lows. We still have Asia high sitting there as an easy move. Go from the low, and let's do another one from the open. So possibly into this golden pocket. I would not be surprised to see lower prices today, if I'm honest, but the market did open very, very strong. Definitely some profit taking into this higher time frame algo and higher time frame imbalances. Morning Merrick, morning Jeff, morning Ryan, morning Asa. All right, so here is your rollover starting to happen into the new hourly candle, which is about to come now. So let's see what we get in this hourly candle. Is this just a deep retracement? ES had a really good push up into previous day close, and the 5-day moving average NQ just extended above the 5-day moving average, but there or thereabouts. So it's highly probable, if we keep doing this move, that we're going to chop between the 20-day and the 5-day. Eventually, over the next few sessions, the 20-day is likely to start catching up. It's likely to start catching up, but the ES for me, all the time, it keeps failing to break out, and it's starting to make lower highs and lower lows. If you look at a 10-minute chart, it is potentially dangerous. We are coming back into areas of interest. This is where we found buyers this morning, but if the market starts to roll over underneath here, maybe we get lower prices today. Again, I said I'm very, very cautious on this market today because Jerome Powell is talking later. I think it's 1 o'clock. I did post it earlier. Let's just double check that. Yeah, Jerome Powell 1:55. Okay, and we're pretty much clear on news other than headlines until then. Morning Michael, morning Stephen, morning Futures Frank. So that's what we're looking at. Will the market roll over here? All right, do we have a move to come and attack these liquidity pools from pre-market, or let's call it London session? Or are we going to hold this support that we found at the open? All right, right here is where we found buyers at the open. So was this a squeeze up? Are they going to come back in and buy the market? We have intraday supply very clearly here now. Or do we simply roll over and come and attack these and potentially lower prices? It will be choppy today and tricky. Lots of people will be waiting for Jerome Powell. All right, they want to see if he's going to give an inclination of whether they're going to do another 50 basis point cut, or if he's going to see or need to see some more job strength in the market. That's going to be the key thing right now. And we have lots of jobs numbers coming this week. Morning, Sam Pedro. Thanks everyone for joining. Make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. Sorry, I got this stream up a little bit late for those who like to set the notifications. Again, I think it's just had a slight issue with my computer today. Once I reset it, everything was fine. So ES did the back test there, swept underneath the previous day low and is driving back up to the upside now, retesting the VWAP. So pretty choppy here, pretty choppy at the open or for the first half an hour. Plenty of time left, half an hour left until we get the initial balance. We are trading underneath daily levels right now. We're trading underneath daily levels right now, but we are right in areas of support on the daily, all the way down to 2163. Now, there was an area I was really interested in if the market was going to get weak. Let's have a look, see if we can find it. On the 5 minute, or maybe even the hourly will show it. We had a double bottom left, right. Here, was it 150? No, 1950 I was looking at, right here. This looks pretty sus for me, all the way down here. Doesn't need to happen today, but this level here into 19,950, this double bottom on the hourly, I'm going to stick that in. That looks like a pretty suspect level that the market might want to come and take out towards the low of this range, and then maybe it finds some buyers underneath there. Not saying it does it today. It could easily do it today. It's only 250 points away. But that's a level I'm looking at, all right? That's a level I'm looking at. It just stands out to me on the chart for a deeper pullback. Definitely intraday shorts trapped up here for now. Intraday buyers, sorry. So supply intraday is here for now. So your options for if we get back there, of course, same as always. Are we going to use the liquidity to go higher? Or does this hold up and we go into a sell continuation lower, which feels slightly more probable for me, given what the market has shown us the last few sessions. It hasn't been that weak. It hasn't been that strong. It's been much more weak, failing to break out on the ES. And then we're just going to have to wait and see. Can we get something to join here for lower prices? Are we going to get a rotation of the point of control? Can we start to duck underneath that value area low? It looks pretty good for now. I would consider looking for an entry model coming up, but I want to be cautious into these areas that we found bids at this morning at the bell. Tech was pretty strong this morning, right? Tesla had a good drive up. Nvidia managed to get over 220 for a little bit. Apple very, very strong, right? Apple very, very strong on the day, opening and driving up above 231s. ES again finding bids at previous day low, so need to be a little bit patient here. Don't want to short into the area this morning that we opened up and found bids. I am expecting a very, very, very choppy day today. I'm not expecting a great day today. Sam, what made me switch over? It became quite exhausting, to be honest, trading small caps, having to run scanners each day, having to learn all the different tickers each day. Small caps are very, very scammy. You have guys who are looking to control the float and force the market up even when they should be selling. They were running way past 2 and 3 standard deviations for a good part of a year. So you'd make some really good money, but you could get slapped very quickly if they went into halts and you couldn't get out. So I love just trading the futures now. I know my risk reward very, very clearly. There's really good liquidity on the futures, which often you don't get on the small caps. I don't have to stare at my scanner every day, and I only need to trade one stock. So I learn one stock. So I'm learning the NQ all the time, or I'm learning ES, or you're learning gold. And they move the same way. They have their own distinctive personalities, let's put it that way. NQ's a bit more violent, right? NQ likes to run its stops a bit more, likes to search for liquidity a bit more. ES is a little bit more stable, often respects levels really, really well. You can get into trends on ES much easier. So with small caps, every stock had a different personality. There were still clear setups, but they were highly, highly manipulated. But if you want to trade things like small caps and you don't have your own money to do it, you can use firms and funds like Trade the Pool. They're prop firms that will do small cap, large caps, futures, absolutely everything. Worth checking those out. South Cap Dad, what's up, man? Thank you for your kind message last week or over the weekend. Very, very kind of you. Hope you had a great weekend. No worries, Sam. If we start to flip this opening range, okay, and start to drive down, I'm watching this liquidity here. It's almost a double bottom at 170, asking if the market's going to get weak and have a sell-off day. It's going to be tricky because we're into daily levels. All right, the short was probably good right here when I was starting the stream, where it started to break down. Even this back test here into previous day close looks pretty good, but I have to be patient now and see what's what. You notice ES is bouncing between previous day low and the VWAP. So it's very clear. Either we're going to continue in a trend or we're going to use liquidity later in the day. It's really that simple right now. It's just, can we find a good area to get involved in? Remember, structure underneath these levels is very, very thin. It's over only the overnight structure. We've moved into a bearish market here because we're trading now between the lower time, beneath the lower time from algo. So into previous day low here, which is pretty much the opening price. If we're going to get heavy here, we can snap. If we're just going to sweep it and come back inside, that would be a whole different trade. ES is still bouncing between PDL and VWAP. ES bouncing between the two. Fig, roll tide. Yes, did you watch that game? What a game. Georgia against Bama. Great game over the weekend. So far looks like a sweep here. ES still holding on. This is very, very tricky here. You notice VIX is holding in and around the 17s as well, okay? If VIX can bull flag and break out, it has room for the upside, and you might see the market trade lower today. Watching to see what the ES does. Is it going to continue lower here? Can keep rejecting supply to give more thesis for a potential wash of the overnight lows, right? If we're going to do that, then NQ can come into 150, and then let's just call it 120. But if it's going to reclaim, it's going to have a good look, especially on the ES on an M10, it's going to have a good look for that inverse head and shoulders type move, all right? For effectively a big drop pullback into the PDL and a scoop and go. So no rush right now, nothing really going on. Just mixed signals here, right? Everything trading pretty much flat. We have intraday supply up here. Here's your VWAP. If we're going to get lower prices, there are some clear levels down here that we can aim for off that trend line. But we need to be careful if tech's going to be strong and they're going to use this later. This right here, if they're going to use it later, they're going to come back into it and use it very simply like this. Same thing we've seen all last week. Now we're back testing VWAP across the indexes. Decent IB size right now, 134. Anyone had a trade this morning? Did any of you get that long out the gate? It was a beautiful long that I missed. Really, really nice. Don't feel comfortable thinking about longs on this market right now, watching the VIX. Don't feel comfortable. Something's going to give. It's either going to be the market or the VIX. But I am expecting a lot of chop today. I'm not expecting much today, like I said, maybe nothing. Normally I trade very light on Monday anyway, while it sets the range into Tuesday, but especially with Powell talking later on, market can very, very easily just chop around. Structure looks pretty good though if it can soak off here for drives up. Otherwise, if we get a fail of trend, all right, on this line chart, if you can see that, you can, then maybe we come and attack these prices. You'll notice there's no real pushback with imbalances, even with the flushes down, like this, other than up here before I got on stream. Not much so far. Very sort of grindy type session so far, and it's trading inside range just about. If we start failing down here, we can expand daily range, which would be nice, be a nicer trend trade. That so far flow zones holding for downside pressure, so looking for new lows here. Ideally, just want to be very cautious about a trap being set into the opening price on New York. It would need to go green to red on the New York session, right in here. So looking for continuation of this structure here right now. Take out this. 4 drives down. That's what I'm watching for a potential play. Want to be very, very cautious around here. This is where buyers stepped up this morning. Okay, right at 9:30, it's where they came in and pushed the market higher. So if this was just a squeeze and they're going to let it go, we can have lower prices. Remember, this will be then a cup. We can think about maybe this was the handle, and maybe now we can get extensions. So I'm looking for a short here for a drive down. That's what I'm looking for right now. Want to be careful about any violent bounce. VIX looking to break out of high of day. ES still soaking off previous day low, and it is showing bullish structure. It's very, very tricky here. Just going to clean this up so it's a bit easier for you to see. Something definitely up with the comp today. There we go. There we go, beautiful. Want to see extension here, give me conviction to hold on to this trade now. Don't want to see it soak straight back up. Really want to see lower prices here. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Want ES to do the same. If ES can make a new low of day, that'd be ideal. Lack of volume really coming in here to drive it down. Want to see ES break down here. Give NQ some conviction. Nvidia now red on the day, Meta red on the day, Amazon red on the day, Microsoft red on the day. Apple still showing strength around that 230 mark. Tesla coming back in nicely now after a really big push. Really want to see this just extend down. Still haven't taken a partial yet on this trade, looking for an extension. Futures Frank, I told you exactly what I was looking for. If you want me to tell you when to enter, you're never going to learn how to trade. I'm showing you exactly what I'm looking for. If you're looking for signals, you're never going to be able to trade if I'm not on stream. I couldn't have made it clearer, saying it was either going to do this or it was going to fail, and I'm looking for a trade for this failure. lacking conviction here just because of ES. Lacking conviction here. Really want to see a new low put in here. Violent new low, ideally. Exactly. Just read the charts. I'm telling you what I'm looking at. I'm telling you the trades I'm looking for. Want to see VIX break out high of day here, then cause a flush on the market. If it doesn't do that soon, I'm likely to take this off. All right, we're just dithering around here. Want to see a flush down on the market. If Google can go green to red, all tech go green to red, we've got a good chance of holding this. ES still soaking, ES still not put in a new low of day. VIX now starting to go, 1738. Need to see a breakout, 1740, 1750. ES still soaking. I've got to take a partial here because we are not getting that big follow through. Still holding some. That's better. Need ES to break down under 780. Under 780 can allow us to get follow through into these lows, all right, into these lows. And right down into 20,120, and then beneath that, remember I said there is a chance, there is a low hanging double bottom much further down if we're going to have a trend day. But for now, the ES is just showing strength. We start to reclaim here, I'll take this trade off, can always put it back on. Morning, Scott. Hope you had a great weekend. So you got a nice trade last night. Moving my stop much tighter now. Don't mind if it takes me out. I will just add back in if I need to, but I'm not going to give this a chance to just squeeze me out. Yeah, totally get that, Frank. You're coming into support. That's what I was saying. It either does a big flush down and washes everyone out, or it has the potential to do a move like this, start reclaiming and start to grind up. But from a daily point of view, we have rejected the previous day, retesting previous day low right now on the NQ. ES is showing much more strength. But I'm just going to follow my system, all right? I'm always following my system, not looking for longs until it proves otherwise. Structure-wise, on the lower time frame, there's no bullish setup yet. It is in areas of interest, but there's no bullish setup. Bullish setup will be a very clear and obvious drive up with momentum, taking some of this out, pull back and hold, and then continuation until that point, or until it does something similar. It can do the same setup down here once it creates new structure, but until then, I want to follow trend. I have the initial balance set in about 9 minutes. Really looking at the higher time frames, even like the 5 minute today, all we did is come and sweep London before turning back down. So we stole some liquidity before continuing trend down. New high day on the VIX now. Flow zone's holding. We're underneath previous day low. Everything is saying continuation lower until proves otherwise for now. In my opinion, it's looking for a continuation lower until it proves otherwise. Low hanging fruit trades down to 150 and let's call it 120. If we get alignment, it will be much, much easier if we get alignment. If we don't get alignment, you need to be aware of chop. Okay, you need to be aware of it building liquidity. We're still trading inside of London and Asia range right now. This is where we found buyers overnight and in these points that we're coming into. Alonzo Miller, short potentially under 5,780 ES if IB holds until 10:30. Yeah, I'd say if the IB is set in and around there and you get a clear continuation underneath that, then you can look for trend day shorts. I would agree with you. But easier will come in the next 5-6 minutes when it starts to show. Yes, I would agree with you. Underneath initial balance low, you are looking for trend day shorts, but that initial balance won't be set for another 6 minutes. If you just look slightly left on ES, so from sort of 9 o'clock to 9:30, you have that pullback leg that we did before extending up. So it's just a question of, do buyers show up in here? If you look at a 5-minute or 10-minute chart, if you start to snap that and snap that trend and you reject the IBL for continuation, you should be looking for trend day shorts. I would agree with you. But just be aware of where we are at and that you have Powell talking later. Looking pretty good for you right now. Down potentially to 5,760. I'd have to zoom out. Yes, I'd say through 68, and then you have a trade down to 55, basically, towards those regions. Just based on liquidity. Nice, Ryan. Good work. Lovely work. Yeah, we're still in trend shorts, looking pretty good. Pretty good. Lovely. Here we go. All right, now starting to cover a little bit of profit. Beautiful. All right, so it took a little while to play out, but then we got that second bear flag right here for continuation. So we just follow trend. Trend is down, flow zones are down. We follow trend, taking profits along the way, making sure you lock in. You're not looking for a bull move until it tells you, all right, until there's a change of character based on the structure, and ideally until flow zones support it. Yeah, not exactly existers. Scalping the ES today seems to be a good day on the ES, slowly, yeah. Just nice slow moves on the ES. So coming here into an imbalance on a 5-minute chart, which was just underneath the London low. And that overnight low into 120. So this is where buyers stepped in. So unsurprising that we found a bid here. I can show you what I'm looking at right here. All right, BPR if you want to call it, and balanced down, and we've inverted it and drove straight up. So this is where buyers very clearly stepped in. So we've traded back into that area. The question now is, do buyers hold this area of 120? If they don't, and we let that go, we have a next target down into, I'd say we can come into and around 20,083. Obviously 2100 will be a psychological level, and then 20,060, and then of course I'm looking at that level at 19,950. Doesn't have to be today, but I have it marked out. I think it's a very obvious level where a lot of stops are. Yeah, big bounce so far off that level where they found buyers. So I'm about to be out of my runner here, but made good money on that way down. It was a nice trade. Not huge, it offered about 30 points. So the market now, you're looking, maybe it wants to do something like this, but you need to be aware of a trap above this to then trend lower. All right, if it just wants to steal the liquidity and come downside, it will do. Those are the two options right now, but that is a good sign that buyers stepped in here. But so far, it's still rejecting the flow zones. All right, still rejecting the flow zones from a structural point of view. We can go down to a slightly lower time frame. All right, potential W, but might want to come and back test this area that we failed from before making lower prices. I would say today, until it proves otherwise, you should be in a see money, take money type environment, type mentality, just because of Powell, all right? Mainly because of Powell. I don't know how market makers and institutions are going to position themselves in for his talk. The most probable thing is for them to create liquidity. If they can make a load of stops in the money that in the market, they can use it later on in the week. All right, so I like to trade very light and nimbly on Monday, Tuesday a bit more, and Wednesday and Thursday is where I like to try and get my main winners. That's where my edges in the market, based on weekly models, based on data I've collected over the years, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday are good days for me to trade. So it's important you know when you have strength, right? If you trade badly on a Friday or a Monday, lower your size on those days. Stick to your strengths. We talked about it last week. Stick to your strengths. All right, so clear out of this level now. It looks like it's trying to shift for potential upside. So from the same area that we found buyers earlier on in the day, all right, this is where we found buyers overnight. Now we're shifting upside. So we can think about fibs now from a higher day. I mean, this does look pretty clean to get run, I'm going to be honest. Into this 50% mark, into VWAP, above that the golden pocket, all the way up here into the 5-day moving average. Trying to see if there's any interesting blocks up there. Not really. Pretty thin and grindy on the way down. Value area high on the day into 241. Take us right up to the top of the range on the golden pocket. Yeah, ES tapped the VWAP, actually went through it. So really here, if you're going to be bullish, you want to see it put in a higher low, all right, just to confirm it wants to move up, rather than a sweep and a drive up into this. You would need to see a higher low, higher high, and then a drive up. Don't know if you can hear that. My computer is making some weird noises this morning. Something's going on. I might need to do a full reset after I get off stream. Brand new computer as well, only a month old. So just inside range right now, you have your initial balance set. Okay, IB low, IB high. We are trading pretty much at the midpoint of the range. So if we're going to trade edges, you're going to need to wait for a deeper pullback if you're thinking about a long for a continuation back towards the IB high. But notice off the IB low, which was set here, this is your IB low, we drove straight up to VWAP. So step one of it has already been complete. Websites fella. I don't know what you're asking, Rue. VIX still basing out for that potential flag between 17 and 1750. That's the VIX range. But notice how it's in the high teens now. We're not trading down at 15 like we were before, so you're going to have increased potential for volatility and flush moves. Testing previous day low here. They're seeing if they can trade back inside the range right now. No trade for me here. If you're looking for a long, you're looking for a reclaim of the flow zones, you're looking for something like this. And you can think about anyone who did my lesson at the weekend, holding this range for a flag. But just remember your counter trend on the day, and we're just trading inside range. Want to be very careful if this is just a sweep to go lower. Any questions? What did you all get up to at the weekend? Anyone do anything exciting or fun? Looks like this flag's playing out then, holding the 30, trying to flip the flow zones. So that would be your break of the flag structure driving up. So if you're going to take a partial, look for it into VWAP and the break of structure here, and then hold your runners for a continuation trade higher. ES testing high of day. Amazing the difference in these markets right now. VIX flushing right down to low 17s. If VIX starts making a new low of day, this market can rotate upside. So that high of day on ES is a previous day, I want to say previous day close, and also a 5-day moving average. So you have lots of dynamic resistance stuck there. Lots of higher time frame traders are watching that level on ES into 91 and 92. So pretty choppy here. This is basically your range, right? This is your range. And from here, you know, buyers stepped in, and from here, you know, sellers stepped in. So in between this is your range. So you have to respect that range. If you're long in this, you need to be taking partials into here, and then you can wait to see if it wants to extend. But expect this to have sellers come in until it proves otherwise, right? Until it proves otherwise. Been doing the course, 90% through to complete. Well done, mate. That's a good effort. It's 20 hours, so you've done a lot of work there. 18 odd hours, that means you've put in. That's a good shift. Scott just hit 90% as well. Looking at the weekly model concept, lovely. Look, dude, my indicator says sell. It looks dumpy. The indicator said sell right over here. That doesn't mean you sell here, does it? All right, we play structure. The indicator's telling you what momentum is trying to do. That sell that it offered was this. This is what we took for lower. It's just a very simple bear flag for move down. Bear flag for move down. Now we've shifted above here for now. We're going to respect this unless it traps and offers a resell, and then we'll use this structure to risk against to come and test the IB low. All right, so structure always comes first. If it keeps basing out here, we'll eventually offer a buy signal. So it's important you understand what you're looking at on the chart. If you're looking to just trade these, then I advise you do the course, because you've got to know what it means. It's offering you an indication of where momentum is. We are in a sell once this offers it. It will soon offer a buy if we keep basing out here, because structure has changed. I teach all this in the course. You've got to understand structure in front of you first. Okay, someone's spamming chat. If you keep spamming chat, Nightbot will put you on a cooldown, and if you keep doing it, it will eventually ban you. Please don't spam the chat, guys. ES again getting stuck at that high of day at the daily level and at the 5-day moving average. I'm just waiting to see here if the market is going to base out or if this is going to be a rollover and trap. I'm not really interested in trades when the ES is trading within a very tight range on its initial balance and the NQ has divergence, right? The NQ is underneath its VWAP. The ES was trying to base over the VWAP, so maybe now we come and do that move back down if that's a trap above here like we talked about. I'm also aware of this liquidity here, so I'm just going to give this time to build out. If it wants to do this, then maybe I'll think about joining here or joining here for lower prices if we support it. If this is a steal of liquidity to go up, then I can think about a rotation back to here, but it's not offering a huge amount of range here. And it would become much more clear if ES is going to give the direction. All right, if ES breaks out, we're going to feel better about a long for the upside. If ES keeps failing, keeps rotating, we're going to be in chop range today on a Monday, which is exactly what we were expecting. Marek, you're at 60%. Good work. Good work. I took the whole of yesterday off, didn't do anything at all. I went out for breakfast in the morning, stuffed my face full of eggs and pancakes and coffee, and came back and relaxed, got in the pool, chilled out, did anything but look at the charts. Stopped out of your long 10 points, you're off and running. Oh, well, it's a nice long. I'm not sure where you got it, Fig. I must have missed that. Sorry about that. I'm assuming you got it off the IB low or something, or off this push afterwards. So it looks good right now. It looks like it's just stole this liquidity here for now. I just need to see if we're going to continue lower and a fake out, or if this steal is correct and we're going to go back upside towards supply. If we're going to do that, I want to see strength from ES. I want to see ES break out with some conviction and ES come and head towards 96 and that 800 level, right? That 800 level has been key, hasn't it, for a few days now. Over under 800 seems to have been key. See, all the time we're starting to print above this momentum cloud, we can maybe get a bullish signal. And we're above the lower time frame, and it might want to trade back up towards the higher time frame algo. This range in here is going to be liquidity building. This is where it's going to build liquidity for a next move. All right, so it's back testing from lower time frame to a higher time frame algo. This is very atypical. Problem with this right now in terms of initial balance is any trade is effectively mid-range. You're not playing the edges. It means your risk reward on a day like today is pretty small. We've got 136 point range, so effectively 65 points each side. 68 points, something like that. Fig off the ES, off the RTH open. Okay. Well, yeah, ES held that nicely, didn't it, when it drove back into, what was that, low? Into 78.50. Yeah, exactly, Sam. 50% of the IB, not ideal in terms of risk reward, not ideal, exactly. In no trade zone, no trade zone. Unless a very clear indication comes. For ES to be bullish, I'd want to see it hold all dips into 88. 88 and around there, and I'd want to see it effectively create a handle on top of its range, and that handle can be right into this 5-day all the way up to 91, and then I'd want to see it extend and run all the stops up to 97. That's what I'd want to see ES do for a bullish continuation, and so far it's just sat there. It's not showing a willingness to do anything. As I said, I'm expecting a choppy market today. Anyone who's joining late, you have Powell speaking in the market. I think it was 140 or 150. Going to double check that now because it's important. Almost got it, 155. All right, so you got nothing until 155, but there might just be a lot of chop up until then. Because his tone, his sentiment is important. I expect him to be dovish. I do not expect him to put any big fear into the market, but I could be wrong. But we have job numbers coming this week. We have JOLTS this week. It's non-farm payroll. There's lots of things happening this week. They will be important to the market because we had a tick up in inflation last week. And I expect him to make some comments on that today. Ryan had a loser there. After getting long from the first pullback from the IB low, you got stopped out. So you took this pullback here, long, didn't get any off into VWAP, I guess. So just remember, mate, when we rotate from IB low, we always respect VWAP, always take a partial into VWAP. And then after that, you've got stopped out, break even or small loss. That's fine. You've stopped out, it's the right thing to do. I'm just slightly concerned that this can be a handle from here. Oh, effectively, I've got to reset this. Effectively from here, right? Giant cut, potentially handle. I'd feel good about getting long above here if the ES can go, and it's not going. So I'm using that as a slight indicator to try and give me some edge, because the ES has relative strength on the daily. All right, we were at all-time highs. It's pulled back now. I want to see buyers come into the market if I'm thinking about a long. Otherwise, I'm very concerned here. I'm not in a rush to do anything today. Got one good trade on a Monday, offered 30 points or something. Can also be a two-leg pullback here. Lots of options here until it decides, right? Until it decides. So I'm going to sit on my hands until it's clear and obvious. I'm going to sit on my hands. Yeah, potentially Sam, that new 4-hour candle that you'll get in the afternoon potentially can offer a better trade. We'll have clear indication then, you know, coming into that, and afterwards, once Powell's given his thoughts, we'll have clear indication on what the market might want to do. And then maybe they're going to price in for the rest of the week. So you might get some increased volatility coming in after that. Whereas you look at the current higher time frame on these candles, all right, just a lot of chopping here. Even if I take the session volume profile off, we're just really inside range from even Friday. We're inside of Friday's range right now. All of these hourly candles, and this isn't huge range. Friday low, 177 to 2, so there's 100 points there, and from here, it's like 140 points odd. But there's no clear direction. Flow zones are trying to shift bearish, and we have an easy target down here, but it's going to have to build liquidity. To get down there, it would need to trap loads of buyers in here and use their stops to go lower. And to get up here, back towards pivot highs, it's going to have to trap shorts at the low. So it's just taking its time to do that right now. It's building the liquidity. Ryan, yes, I would, mate. Just use the middle line on VWAP, get rid of everything else. So if you double click on it, should just look like that. Just get rid of everything else. ES having another attempt at that flag we just talked about. If it can base above that range, which it is attempting to do, and get a breakout, it can go higher, but it keeps rejecting the previous day level and the 5-day moving average. That 5-day moving average is key. If we're going to build liquidity, it's just going to hang out between the 5-day and the 20-day, and it's going to wait for the 20-day moving average to catch up. Exactly the same on the NQ. If I come to here, right, if it's going to build liquidity, it's going to try and wait for the 20-day to catch up and the 5-day to come down, and then it can make a decision of a drive back up to top Bollinger or a fail and a rotation to the lower Bollinger. We'd have a lot of room down there. If you are getting frustrated today and you are flipping long and short and long and short and long and short constantly because you're getting chopped up, take a break, go and take a walk, go and get a coffee, do anything but revenge trade, all right? Do not be that person who's in and out of this market getting chopped up. That's exactly what this market wants to do right now. It wants to piss you off. It wants you to revenge trade. It wants you to oversize. It wants you to keep flipping contracts so that it can build liquidity. That's exactly what it is doing all of this. There is no clear trend here, all right? We had a good shove up this morning on a squeeze, a failure, and a roll straight down, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, bear flag down, into a liquidity pool, a bounce from there. It's trying to bounce and hold its gains above, but it is chopping up until you do that. All right, holding 50% of that move, which is deeper than a traditional flag, those that watched the video over the weekend. And there is no real imbalance down here until right down here in the lows. So it's trying to hold basically this base right here where we changed character lower time frame. So this is what it's trying to do, but it's got to chop to do that. And if it actually just wants to trap, it's going to use this to go lower. So do not get trapped playing this until there's a clear indication of momentum. Don't get trapped, all right, team? Don't get trapped. Learn when not to trade. It's probably more important than learning when to trade. Just by magic, my coffee is turned up. ES again banging on the door of high of day. So it did do a breakout of high of day and failed, came back inside, but it's still holding its range. So now it's really simple. Does it flag and go, or is it going to start to roll over? Meta and Apple, the only stocks left green right now. Rest of Mag 7 is red, although not by much. Nvidia down a little bit, over 1%, and Amazon down over 1%. The rest are near enough flat. Tesla actually red on the day now. Had a huge drive up in the morning and then gave it all back and some. Any questions while we are waiting, guys? Any questions? Those of you who are new here probably noticed I'm not jumping in and out of other trades like some of the other, what do we call them? Influencers, whatever you want to call them. I'm waiting for my best setups to happen. And if they don't happen, I'm not trading. It's really that simple. So if you have any questions, fire it in the chat. Try and go through them. All right, so it's offering sell signals here. The reason it's gone pullback, sell, it thinks we're already in a sell, which we were. Structure is not necessarily saying that, but we're starting to turn over now. Question I have is, does it use these buyer's stops to go lower? or is this going to be a choppy flag to go higher? Once it gives me a good strong candle, I'll start joining, whichever way it is. Jerry Roberts, Alex, what is the key issue of ES to NQ? You mention it a lot. The key issue, I'm not sure what you mean by issue, but if you're asking why I'm always looking at ES, if you look on a daily chart on ES and you look on a daily chart of NQ, all right, ES broke out of all-time highs. NQ got nowhere near it. So from a daily perspective, we know that ES has relative strength. So if we're thinking about a rotation long, right, if we're thinking about this kind of trap move for a rotation long in NQ, we'd want to see the index with relative strength be bullish. We'd want to see the index that can punch harder to the upside, who's shown it wants to punch harder to the upside, and go and put a knockout blow in, which would mean ES breaking out of at least today's range. And it's not doing it. And the same last week. Remember, we had that 5,800 was that key level on ES. It did a breakout and it failed and came back inside. That's not what you want to see for continuation upside trades in the NQ. You'd want to see its brother or sister in the ES making higher highs and breaking out. And that would give us conviction that, okay, we can look for a long in the NQ. All the time it's doing a failed breakout, failed breakout. I mean, look at ES right now, right? ES is at the IB high, which is the equivalent of being right up here on NQ, all right? This is where ES is the equivalent of. NQ's all the way down here. So we have room to go up, but we need ES to break out. So it's timing it, basically. When you've got one with relative strength, one with relative weakness, and they're not timing well, it's a good indication the market's just going to chop around. Hopefully that makes sense for you, Jerry. Rue, I've been full-time for the last, it's coming up 6 years now. I started trading probably about, how old am I now? Probably about 18 years ago. All right, this is choppy range, isn't it? We put in a W, broke out, there's your head and shoulder, failed breakdown, found buys at the bottom of the W, traded back up. Now can it do another inverted head and shoulders and trade up, or is it going to roll over and come back down and sweep this, right? So it is messy, right? There's no like, this is very clear and obvious upside. And look at this, look at these candles for, what time is that? For the last 10 minutes. You're trading in an 11-point range or something. For NQ, that is absolutely pathetic and tiny. All right, so it will break out of this range at some point. It will break out of it and it will use the stops at some point. But like I said, the market's job today is to create liquidity. Create liquidity for the Jerome Powell talk. Create liquidity to use later in the week for a trend direction. Look at the daily. Look at the hourly. Everything is in the same. We're squished down. So you had Thursday and Friday extended the range last week. For those doing my course in the weekly model, look at Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All right, classic weekly models. Thursday and Friday extended the range. Right now we're trading back inside that old weekly range. All right, chop, 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 chop until we break out of ranges. All right, then we chop, because ranges, remember, are what cause liquidity. Think about this. Everyone's inside this right now. We extend it a little bit, and we fake out, and we extend it a little bit. So each side of this, you have a lot of stops. Once we clearly break out, very easy to get trend long. Once we clearly break down, very easy to get trend short. If we don't do a retest, it can scoop and go the other way. All right, this would be your classic spring with something like a Wyckoff. So that is effectively what you are looking at right now over the last 10-20 minutes. It's just a very tight range right in here. It's why you get so many signals. Everything's flat. Look at the 5-day, flat. Higher time frame algo up here, flat. Momentum cloud, flat, and right next to deep pullback algo and lower time frame algo. This is a no trade indication. This is screaming at you. I'm going to trap people. I'll let you know when I'm ready. Does that make sense for everyone? I know for those doing the course, it will definitely make sense. or I really hope it does. Otherwise I've become a bad teacher. Awesome, that's great to know, Scott. Yeah, makes sense, Ryan, Sam. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So I'm not interested in participating in here. Zero interest at all. VIX is also at its low of day. It's trying to see if it's going to fail its IB low. If it does that and the ES breaks out, we can get an upside squeeze here. If it trades back inside on the VIX, going to keep chopping. And it's a Monday. Do you want to start your week? You know, ask yourself, do you want to start your week playing in this crap, getting frustrated? Right, because if you're getting frustrated and you stopped out, and maybe you've taken some losses, chances are by the time you come to trade later today or tomorrow, you're going to already be exhausted from playing crap price action. All right, watching the charts is tiring. You're using mental capital all the time. So the less mental capital you can use, the more you can reserve it for when your setup really sets up in front of you, when it's clear and obvious, the easier you're going to find to take that. Exister, I don't know if you can actually. Can anyone else in chat answer that? Can you look at the VIX in NT8? It probably depends on the data that you're pulling. Are you trading with Apex or Top Step or someone? Might provide different data. If you're trading your own account on Ninja, I would have thought you definitely will be able to. Scott, do I pay attention to composite volume on the ES or NQ? No, not really, my friend, not really. I really only use session volume on an hourly. Sometimes I'll use regular volume and mainly only if we're coming into an area where I think a reversal is happening. Other than that, no. And no composite. Trading a cash account, not a prop. Yeah, so if you're trading a cash account, Exister, on Ninja, I would have thought you will have it because you should then have all the data from their providers. So I would have thought so. There should be a VIX account there. If anyone else knows that, please help Exister out. Yes, I can see it. So if you go to indexes, Exister, if you go to indexes, there is VIX there. All right, so you should be able to see it there. Sometimes when you get charts like this, the easiest thing to do is just move to a higher time frame. All right, move to a higher time frame, and it will stop you trading the chart, right? So the question here is, can you bull flag for a move up, or are we going to just reprice and roll over? So you can always move to a different time frame. This is looking a little more promising now. This is ES having another attempt at high of day. Still hasn't got through it. VIX having another attempt at failing the IBL and extending down, and still hasn't really done it. I think it just extended by a tick there. No worries, Exister. Advanced and declining on ES currently balanced, yeah. On the ads as well, I would say. And you've probably got Delta flat, I'm assuming. I've not looked, but I would assume everything's flat. Like we said, the market is going to wait for Jerome Powell. That's what it's waiting for. Think about it. If you are a big institution with billions of dollars on the line and you hit all-time high on ES last week and you repriced that gap on NQ that we talked about, the cash gap, you've probably taken a lot of profits. And for now, for you to put risk on the market when you've seen inflation tick up a little bit last week, you're going to really need to see an indication that PAL is mega dovish, because like we talked about, historically when we go into quantitative easing, within the first 3 weeks you start to get major pullbacks on the market, and institutions will be really aware of that. They will not want to position bullish if historically we've always started to roll over with quantitative easing. So that is probably why you have this. They're going to wait. Michael, ES on the daily is between the previous day open and previous day close. Are you saying it's better to wait for price to get above the previous day open and hold? Yeah, it's not just that. Yes, I am, but it's not just that. It's that just look left on the ES, go to a 5 or a 10-minute chart. You've basically got a inverted head and shoulders or a cup, and it's trying to make the handle. If that handle fails, we've been up here since 10:30 this morning, so it's been up there half an hour building liquidity in a range on the ES basically between 87 and 90, other than the odd tiny breakout above it. So in a 3-point range, you've got, just trying to double check that, yeah, in a 3-point range you've got 30 plus minutes of volume stacked there. If those are all buyers and we roll over, they're going to cause a flush in the market. If they're buyers and we get continuation, you should get a nice drive up, a nice pullback and hold, and you should easily come and take out 96, and then you should be looking for 800. So there's no rush, in my opinion, to be participating right now, right? Because if you're trying to buy a breakout high right now, the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 attempts on a 10-minute have all failed. This one might go, but you're probably exhausted already, so just take time. If ES goes, this flag will start to play out. It's really that simple. All right, and we're going to rotate daily and 5-day, supply, high time frame, IB high. Looking better now. So now it's starting to become a bit more obvious. Want to see strength from ES. Want to see strength from ES. Because we built a lot of liquidity here. What you do not want to see is a push, squeeze, and instant fail back down, all right? Because that would be a failed breakout again on the ES, and at some point, people will get exhausted. So here's a retest back inside on ES. Is it going to hold or is it going to expand? No worries, Michael.
Messages doesn't support the group ES.
Oh, Siri doesn't like ES, apparently. So there's a fail breakout again so far on ES, coming into a key level. Has to hold 90, really, on the M10. So I've got a family member messaging me asking me to test and check the targets for bar for a long-term position they're holding. So I'm going to do that when I get off stream. So look at ES, see that failed breakout, took the liquidity at the 5-day, took the liquidity on the previous daily level, broke out by a tick, traded back inside. All right, so no conviction yet on this move. So even if you took that flag, what did it really offer you? You got maybe 10-15 points out of it, but it is basing above this level now. We want ES to do the same and continuation higher. VIX now breaking down. All right, VIX starting to break down, so you're starting to get some form of alignment. Potential flag here again for continuation. So those that did the lesson, there's your flag. I bet you that is a 30% from here. There's your flag, drive. Looking much better now. ES starting to go now. So that pullback's holding. Remember, if you're in this long, you have to respect the supply above you. Take some profits into this daily level. So your TPs should be into here, here. Here's your breaker structure. So you should have taken a very small bit off. Here, here, here. Okay. We're only going to hold for trend long if it's going to do this and this again here. It's going to have to do this again here and do a giant cut, handle, and then you can maybe hold trend long above the IB high. Till that point, you've got to see money, take money. Remember, we talked about it earlier today. We're trading inside of the initial balance. ES yet again failing and coming back inside. Real lack of follow through. So think about this. Just be very, very aware. Here is a ton of liquidity. There is a run of stops. All right, if buyers came in here, including yourself, and didn't get anything off, and it starts trading back down here, you don't want to be participating as a buyer, right? Because you're going to get buyers run scared from the market and you're going to get sells. Very, very tricky conditions here, team. Tricky conditions. So Scott, you're long ES, I guess, on this pullback here, looking for it to hold. Just be careful. Yeah, be careful. If it washes, it can wash hard here. Just remember, there's a lot of liquidity built in here now. Make sure you've got a hard stop in. Don't want you to get skipped on price. VIX just soaked off its 10-minute deep pullback cloud, trading back into the initial balance low on the VIX. ES coming back down towards view up. Hourly candle really just tested the upside of the previous hour, already dropping back down. So if the hourly candle can start to fail here, it might come and test the IB low. If we get through that, there's clear liquidity downside. I know I'm repeating myself a lot, but we are in very choppy conditions. Yes, trying to find a bounce there. VIX open with a volume imbalance there, back down to the downside, very interesting. I've got no edge in this market right now, like literally no edge. If I put capital on, I'd love to see this wash in many ways after a failed breakout, but I'm just not willing to take it right now. I think it's just trapped in both directions. There was a lack of buyers on the NQ. Once we broke out, made that high, swept, they didn't soak any of this level. So this is a strong candle back down. There's a lack of buyers willing to participate around 90. So we sold all the way back down to previous day low, swept some of these stops here, trading back inside to the upside. So the same thing, rinse, repeat. It's just building liquidity each side of this range. South CAD Dad, trading SPY options got stopped out of your put. It's ranging inside this flag on SPY. Should have listened. Well, it's all right. Look, don't beat yourself up. Right, don't beat yourself up because these are tricky conditions. The most important thing is you finish that sentence by saying you should have listened. So you're going to learn to see this next time you see this on the chart, you'll know that it's not really great conditions to trade in. Scott, out small loss? Yeah, no worries, mate. You gave it a go, it didn't play out. You had your stop, you had your reasons, you had your plan. It's good trading. Stick to the process, it's fine. Win some, lose some. Persistent pace, yeah, I mean, it's more than possible. It's more than possible. It just messes about all day until he talks. It can come and test top of the range up here. Remember, what we're trading in now is absolutely tiny. Supply is actually up here, and demand that we found intraday was down here. Right, so in terms of range, on the day, on the New York session, we came in, we tapped the 61 fib, we failed, traded back down, hitting around the 50%. So we're just doing a dance right now. We're doing a dance. We've got a lack of conviction, and it's probably going to continue to do that dance unless some other news comes in. All right, you could get some other news on the market come in. Could get some war news, for example. All right, so stuff in Hezbollah could start to pick up, could shift the market. Could get Putin talking like he did last week about nuclear events. Could start injecting capital or removing risk from the market. So there is a chance, you know, we're not just waiting for Powell, that is the main event, but the market will move on all sorts of other news. Who knows? Maybe there's a report on Apple saying that iPhone 16s are going better than anticipated or something. Hi DJ. Hi DJ, welcome to the chat. No worries, persistence. So look at ES now. Now it's having another go. So it feels like it's done that drive back down, make everyone get scared. It's going to have another go for upside here. It's just so nasty, this market. Don't get frustrated, Scott. You did the right thing. This is exactly what it wants to do. It wants to frustrate everybody and make you now chase. Just be hands off until you're ready to take another trade and there's a clear and obvious setup. Yeah, exactly, Scott. That's what it wants to do. It knows what it's doing, right? These candles are just signs of emotion. So it did breakout here, got everyone to come in long, and then some breakout traders would have got long here. Then it made everyone stop out. Now it's come all the way back up to the upside. Now it's trying to get everyone who just took a loss down here and get stopped out, jump back in long here. Now maybe it goes and gives them profits, but it could just as easily come all the way back down, stop them out again. And by that point, you're probably 2, 3, or 4 triggers in to go and tilt. Right, so understand what your tilt triggers are. My tilt triggers are too many break-even trades, and when I'm in a trade and I don't let it work, or classic scenario like you've probably just had where you were in money, didn't take the money, stops you out and then goes. All right, so if I get too many of those in a row, tilt will start to form. When you recognize tilt in yourself, just do one thing. Get out any trade you're in, close the machine down, leave for the day. Don't even bother coming back. Protect yourself. Understanding your tilt triggers is absolutely paramount. Our job as traders is to manage risk, all right? I know we're all obsessed with how much money we can make, but really our job is to manage risk. So you want to be trading in the best possible trading environments where trend is nice and clear, where it's an obvious setup, and you want to be trading with mental and physical clarity. VIX retesting its low on day. That's the 5-day fig. That's the 5-day moving average, the blue squiggly line. Yeah, exactly, Scott. You will keep repeating them if you don't know your triggers. And everyone's got different triggers. Everyone's got different triggers. So here you go. It's about to frustrate everyone who just chased in now. Probably dump down a little bit, enough to make them get scared, and then maybe it goes again. But just looking at this chart, it's pretty ugly, isn't it? It's a pretty ugly chart. DJ, you were on tilt on Tuesday last week. You managed to claw back on Friday and ended the week 550 green. Today you were able to get a good trade in London and locked out for plus 1,650. Great work, DJ. Great work. Good fight back. And it's good to see that you did that fight back not on the same day that you were on tilt. That's important. So you came back end of week when you're feeling a bit more fresh, a bit more neutral minded, let's say. Got some good trades in, got to rest at the weekend and came back and made your money in London today. It's great work. So another push pull, another failed breakout so far. There's probably some of you thinking, why am I not taking longs here? There's potential for longs. There is, but I'm looking at this range, right? This range for me is not offering a much action at all. 10, 15 points, and you're probably risking very similar. Those who've been on stream a lot know that I like to look for like 50 to 100 point trades when I can, and I need to at least know I'm going to get a 30 or 40 point move to make it worth my time. What I don't want to do is oversize in a smaller range and get chopped up. Right, so you see all the traders trading minis right now, trading 3 minis. They lose 10 points, which is not a lot to lose, or 20 points over and over again. And then they've hit max loss on the day. My words keep echoing in your eyes when you're in the middle of those trades. Thank you so much. Absolutely, DJ, you're welcome. I used to have the same when I had a mentor. I used to have the same when I was trading small caps. Wait for the level to fail, retest over and over again, then think about the trade. Same thing. I used to have clear definitions in my head. I knew what you meant. It's all right. I knew what you meant. The hourly on ES. Let me take a look, buddy. Hourly on ES actually looks all right, doesn't it? Driving back up into... It keeps getting stuck in... What's this range here? What I'd be looking at ES is those hourly wicks up at like 96, 95, 96. Which was set, there was one set 3 a.m. and the others basically overnight as well. I'd be looking at those. Midnight price. Can it drive up and take those? Yeah, the hourly on ES looks much better than the NQ. You look at the NQ, there's just nothing in here that's getting me excited about trading. For downside, remember, for downside, we want clear and obvious upside direction, all right? We go up to move down, or we curl and we base above to go up. This here, right, there's nothing. There's nothing. I'm sure it's really boring listening to me on stream. I totally get it. But there's nothing there that's making me really want to pull the trigger. ES now breaking out upside, so maybe it's going to go for those wicks we just talked about. Basing above VWAP now on the NQ. It's trying to shift for this upside move, but remember, supply, this is where you broke down from this morning. Come on, computer, play with me. There we go. All right, so you have to respect this if we get into it. If ES cannot base above its IB high, I have a very... That's basically what I'm saying is if it can't base above IB high, I'm not touching this. I need to see ES get some good closure above IB high for a trend day higher. Otherwise, I just have no interest in trading this, guys. It doesn't mean you can't. You should absolutely trade whatever setup that you are comfortable with. But for me, if I'm looking for a rotation on the weaker market on the NQ back towards that supply, I need ES to prove to me it's going to go higher. Yeah, potentially, Ryan. It's just where are you trading up to and where are you risking against, right? So think about your risk reward. Is it offering you a good trade? If it is, then yes. Because potentially, yes, this is a higher high, higher low. We expect continuation now. But these are the targets where I expect sellers maybe to come in unless ES is really going to start showing me something. Think about extension of this. Let's even go from here, short-term range. Right into supply, that 161, right where the high time frame algo is. Let's look at whole range on day. We're right in that golden pocket right now. So intraday traders who are trading off fibs are selling right now into these pockets. I want to see them get removed from the market. I'm happy to join the market late today, honestly. If ES is really going to get going, I'm happy to join the market late up here. Yeah, exactly. They're trying to go higher, but they're not doing a very good job of it. Exactly. And ask yourself, would you be betting millions on the line when you know in 2 hours' time, Jerome Powell's going to come out and he could just say some wild comments that spooks the market, and you know how thin the market gets at that point. There's nothing to say it couldn't do a 200-point drop and a 200-point push-up in the space of 20 seconds. You just don't know. So they're unlikely to put a lot of risk on the table right now unless there is a reason for them to do it. Yeah, NQ almost at 5 day, not far off. ES is right at 5 day, but I'm looking on a 10-minute chart. Every push above that is failing into that 95. So into those levels we just looked at, Scott. Gets very close, but not quite close enough, right? So it's got a few points higher it can go. It is sitting on its IBH right now, pretty much. And that's also its old daily level. But it definitely looks better. Yes, right at its IBH right now. I just really don't like this action. It's got to show me something. For me to want to pull the trigger, it's got to show me something. I'm sorry for everyone that's just joining the chat looking for me to pull the trigger on something. As soon as there's something I really love, I will. Took that short this morning for the move down. Have sat out all this chop. Now just waiting. If you're new, please hammer that like button, hit the notifications, hit subscribe, share it with your friend. I'm here 5 days a week from 10 o'clock market time into lunch, sometimes beyond. So it's looking good. It is looking good, like it wants to go. I just need some conviction. Notice how small these are. These are so small and grindy. into previous day close here, this white line. This is the main problem I have, is you got previous day close, 5 day, the bottom of intraday supply, higher time frame on algo, and then the IB. The IB is a good target. You've got good risk reward there, but for here, it's not offering much in terms of risk reward and points. But maybe this flag and W plays out now. And as you push. But you know, if you're buying here and risking here, and I'm taking some profit there, I'm not even sure that's a one-to-one, maybe just. That's the issue for me. And those who trade with me a lot know that I like to get trades where, let's say, we based above here this morning, and we did the flag here, and I could get in, and it was clear and obvious that we were going to rotate here. This is the type of trade I like. Maybe it does that, and it just chops and chops and chops all day to do it. But I have my game plan and I stick to it. You should definitely have yours and stick to it. If what it's showing you right now is something that you like, absolutely take it. All right, don't let me talk you out of it. It is making higher highs and higher lows on a lower time frame right now. We have clear and obvious targets above it can aim for. Take the setup in front of you if you like it. Okay, for me, I'll show you what I'm looking at while I don't love it so much. We can go to this right here. Let's put, do I have it on here? Right, this right here is my issue on ES. Stuck at higher time frame, stuck at IB, keeps bouncing between these two. Yes, higher high, higher low. Yes, I get it. But I want to see conviction, and that's what I'm worried about. This is what I'm worried about. It's a better drive here now. So here's your 5 day, here's the bottom of supply. So if you took that long, you've got to respect these levels, okay? This is where sellers came in earlier, or this is at least where buyers started to stop out earlier. So you must respect these levels, this red box. In and around here, you have to be taking partials. Fix now, new lower day, which is good. Good indication for potential higher prices. Where can VIX come back to? I would say VIX can trade back into an old wick at 1670, 1660. If it fails that, there isn't a whole lot of structure until it gets down to low 16s and mid 15s. ES having another attempt. Remember that 96 on the hourly is possible on the ES. That's what we were looking at. Into supply and 5 days. So you just tagged 5 day there. Can you get more upside squeeze now? So if you're in this long, well done. Just hold on to a runner. Make sure you take a partial. If it wants to rotate to IB high, it's going to be a really nice trade for you. There's a lot of stops up there. It could run them very, very easily if it gets going. If ES gets going and this can get going, you have room then. And then on the hourly and the daily, maybe we can drive right up towards, what's this, 350? Yeah, 350 to 390 if it really wants to get going on the hourly. But first it's going to have to flip sort of 280, 300 zone. It's going to have to flip all this and above. Okay, so far, respecting intraday supply. Remember, here is where buyers got stuck. This is where they were forced to sell. So what I was talking about just in terms of my risk reward, why I didn't love it. Right at that top fib. Right, it's a good confluence. Supply 786, 5-day moving average. Sellers came in there for now. Doesn't mean it can't go higher, but for now, sellers came in there. So you must take partials, this is what I'm saying. This is a day where you must lock some in. ES right back to its IB high again. $60 of you now watching, do me a favor, hammer that like button for me. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. I'm not in this long, but I'm sure lots of you in chat are. Please, please, please let me know if you got that long. Take some profits, please take some profits. You don't have to take it all off, but respect the structure in front of you. Do not be adding into supply, all right? Don't be adding into supply and higher time frame levels where you can get yourself trapped. Remember, you're just trading inside range. Look at your daily candles. Look at your hourly candles. Look at your overnight ranges. You're trading inside of London and Asia right now. You're trading inside of Friday right now, or at least the low to the close. And we are trading inside of the initial balance right now as well. All right, so it tapped it, and that's a pretty good rejection. Now you'll see why I'm really not interested so much up here. Like I said, I'd happily join late if I know that we've got them all out of the way. I know that might seem counterintuitive. Why would he join long up here? Because if I know that we're going to do this move and we're above this and everyone's out the game and the ES would have massive strength at that point, I've got clear reason to risk. But at this point here, I know there's supply here, which we are rejecting now. Did any of you get that? Did any of you get, or what would you got out of that? From 10 to 32, maybe you got a 20-point move there for you. Hopefully some of you got that. No, Ryan, you were eyeing that up. So there's a clear failure here of the initial balance high now from the ES. We've traded all the way back down to the deep pullback zone and VWAP now. So if people came in late here and bought up here, right, we can maybe go back up, retest, and then wash back down lower again. You got a little long candy cane. Good work. Good work. I didn't take it. Personally, I didn't take it. Get my reasons why, but there was a trade there. If you're a trader that likes 10, 15 points, there was a trade there for you. Yeah, Scott, we tapped that 5-day. We tap that 5-day, the importance of the 5-day, the mean reversion trade. Remember I said it might want to dance between the 5-day and the 20-day. 20-day is going to need to trend up. This is going to take time for it to do these moves. So if ES is not going to make higher highs on a daily chart or a weekly chart, I would expect the 20-day to start catching up and the 5-day potentially has a chance to start rolling over. Looks like sellers are starting to come into the market as we trade back down into this chop range, right? This is the chop range we had today. Ryan, you missed it, or you didn't miss much. You didn't miss much. The Tesla now red on day, Nvidia red on the day, Meta is green on the day, up 0.85%, Google pretty much flat, up, yeah, pretty much flat, Amazon red on the day, down 1.5%, Microsoft almost flat, and green to red, Apple green on the day, up almost 2% on the day. This is looking heavy, isn't it? So it looks like it trapped them up here again. So does it want to come and wash all these stops down here? Now, these are the questions. ES coming back towards VWAP. Are they going to take another bounce at VWAP? Remember, we're just in the middle of this range, and we're in the middle of the initial balance range. This is very, very ugly action. right? Very ugly. We're not trading near an edge in a rotational day, which means it's very hard to get a position on with confidence. At least for me, how I trade, at least for me. Like I said, everything I'm teaching is just how I trade. You got to trade your book, your way. If you're going to take a trade, you are putting your own risk on the line. You don't need to follow what I do all the time. You need to trade how you like to trade. So very clear failed breakout there. ES back to VWAP. If ever you wanted a sign of a chop day, this is it. All right, study these patterns today. Study the chart. Look at what it's doing. Look at the ES. Look at the NQ. Look at the VIX. Right, these are good days to understand when it's building liquidity and it wants to just take money from you and frustrate you. These are the days where traders blow up. Not just the days where we trend 300, 400, 500, 1,000 points. They also blow up on days like these because they get so frustrated and they oversize. Imagine you longed up here and you ignored this supply. Look how clear this supply was, right, where we broke down from this morning, and the 5-day, we got in there. I said you have to take partials. If you take this flag, partial 1, partial 2, partial into here. If they didn't do that and they didn't understand that and they got long on the breakout up here, they just gave all their money back, right? This is a much more violent move down than it was for the grind up. And if it wants to bounce here and hold VWAP and go back and retest off the ES, it can, all right? It's going to do whatever it wants to cause max pain to people. Wherever it needs to find liquidity, build liquidity, and hurt people, that is what it is going to do. So we've got 20 minutes left now until we go to lunch. Persistence, you're over and out. See you tomorrow. Yeah, see you tomorrow. Hopefully you had a good day. That golden zone fib, the supply level, the 5-day moving average all came in and slapped the market back down. VIX now back at its IB low again, all right, holding its 10-minute deep pullback flow zone. It's very tricky, guys, very, very tricky to play these, in my opinion. Momentum short term over the last 5-10 minutes has definitely shifted into a sell. You're coming back down to that lower structure where it found some bids. And you're in the middle of the range. ES is at its VWAP. NQ at the lower time frame algo. Maybe it wants to trend lower. Maybe it needs to come and reprice up here, back test some of these levels before it does it. Looking heavy here into previous day low now, the green line. And that's the lower part of the range we created of that chop session all morning for like an hour and a bit. This is into the lower part of it. So maybe it wants to come and wash everyone out of this now. Tempted to take a snapshot here if it really is going to show weakness. But yes, might want to backtest that VWAP. Right, those daily levels, we're inside that chop range. It's not very pretty, is it? there goes it. Yes, back testing towards VWAP again. VIX now inside of its initial balance range, trading pretty much at 17s. And everything else pretty much flat on the day. So maybe NQ comes back to that VWAP, fills this imbalance. If it's trapped enough and has another go, all right, so this right here was where we just broke down from. Does it trade up to here and show a rejection to go lower? Or is it gonna use liquidity and go again? Like, it's just gonna trap over and over again until something's very, very clear and obvious and it's built enough stops in one side or the other. Good bounce there. What a lame day, but to be expected. How many of you have had no trades today? I'm interested. How many of you have had 0 trades at all today? Nice, John. No trades for you. Good work. Sticking to process. 2 trades, 2 wins. That's good, Jeff. 2 gold trades earlier. Gold traded down this morning, right? That's where's gold at now? 1,655. Were you short on those? And bought a little bounce as well. Well done. Interested if we reject here and roll back down towards this lower time frame algo, if they soak it there or if they just let it go completely. It is really, really tricky, but I'm vaguely interested in this just because of where we rejected from. But we are right in VWAP and we're right coming up to lunch. This might be a signal that I should just get off and not even bother. Okay, I'm going to be right back here, guys. Going to be right back. Okay, the market just dancing around still. That's probably enough for me to call it a day. You know, coming into lunch, 10 minutes away, trading inside range. We've had numerous breaks out on the ES. On the ES, it's trading back up towards its IBH. No trade day other than that one small scalp. Not going to sit here and spend all day looking at this, waiting for Jerome Powell to come in. The market's probably going to get thinner and thinner as we approach him talking. So I'm going to call it there, I think. That is enough for me. Well done all those who made some money. Well done all those who lost money or took no trades but stuck to their process, all right? Great trading. That's how you need to trade all the time. Stick to your process. We will be back. My tongue can't get it out, can it? We will be back tomorrow, all right? Expecting some better price action tomorrow. Till then, trade safe. Use hard stops as always. Peace out. And don't forget, you can do the course. Links down below. As always, YouTube code for $100 off. Catch you later.